It's not bitrate though, it's frame drop. Well, we'll see how it looks like now. If it's frame drop, I'll ask ChatGPT how I can improve that. We'll jump down here and see what the lag is like. Should definitely do a small hit to performance if there is anything. Oh, there's still a bit of lag. Yeah, I see lag still. Hmm. Ooh, okay. Hmm. Okay, let's see.
Shadow Legion, Shadow Legion. We'll kick him out of Neomuna in no time.
Holy cow, streaming is really hard. Hold on, is OBS even using NVIDIA? Like NVIDIA control panel? Sometimes it doesn't use the right GPU for some unknown reason. OBS Studio. Um, GPU global setting. Okay, well, let's see if that does anything. Try jumping down here again. Got any lag? Following this dude around, see where he goes. I'm not seeing any lag yet. Let's go get on the vehicle. It should definitely introduce some lag, if there's any. So far it's okay. Haven't gotten to the part with the vehicle yet though. Okay, I'm on the vehicle now. Ooh, that's not too bad. Yeah, that looks better than before. There's no lag. Let's go try going back to the town where that transition area was. Wait, how did I even get here? I'm so confused. There's loot here though. Let's go grab that. Oh, shit. Did I get off my sparrow? I just jump, okay. No lag yet. I get back to the town. There is a noticeable lag spike entering and exiting. I keep trying to summon Torrent. God. Stop summoning Torrent. I'm summoning Sparrow. Wait, is shift break? Am I holding that break the whole time? Or is shift sprint? Is there even a sprint button on Sparrows? Ah, there we go. There's the sprint button. I forgot about that. Okay, we'll try to go back up. See what the lag is like.
You warlocks are good at synthesizing information, right? I could use your eyes on this.
Okay, so far, this looks acceptable to me. Oh, there's some lag there. Transitioning through this zone. I wonder what that's from. Because I'm not getting that lag in game. That's from, ooh. It's like laggy indoors. That's really weird. It's okay now. Okay, I guess that's an acceptable level of lag. Um, could be better, but I don't know how to make it better. Either way, I need to switch over to sculpting. I've been playing this game too much. So I'll go switch over to that right now. I'm gonna take a short break here. So I'll be right back. And then when I get back in, I'll go do some sculpting. I'll go chill with the very handsome man outside.
Rohan always says, battles are won with strength, but wars are won with brains.
I'll keep
Lucky
you
for
guys
old
company.
Life, you
Be right
have
back.
both. Yeah.
Thank you for assisting me in this fact-finding mission, Guardian. There is much to uncover about the Veil, and your work here is indispensable.
I got you on Overwatch. Let's get to work.
Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Let's do one more quest with these settings. If there is a quest. If there's like a good story quest I can do. Because that kind of suck. Like the first two quests. Those are pretty good, but Crux of Stasis. I feel like I've done this already, but the final shape, timeline, reflection. You know, I haven't been back on play the dungeon duality. Dive into the exiles. Emperor's mind in search of dark secrets. Dungeon. Dungeons are actually kind of hard unless you have like a team, I think. Oh. I kind of want to do this of Queens and Worms. Let's just do this. We'll get this out of the way. I think I've done this before. Yeah, it's just like a recap of Destiny 2.
The arrival of the Black Fleet sparked great turmoil in the last city. Many of our people feared that a second collapse was imminent. The Witness took advantage of that fear. It promised power to all those worthy of it, in the form of stasis, setting off a race to Europa. We could never have imagined what awaited us on that frozen moon. We had always believed
where my warlock got
itself
his
to be
ice powers.
inextricably linked with our enemy. Its power, a path to inevitable violence and grief. But there were those, like Elsie Bray, who understood that what we call darkness is a neutral force. Like the light, it could be a powerful tool for good in the right hands, if we were brave enough to question our beliefs.
Right.
By communing with the crux of darkness, we could learn to wield the power of stasis. First, we had to fight our way into Reese Reborn, Aramis's stronghold on Europa.
This pyramid granted darkness to the Guardians and the Fallen.
It's
It
still getting a
gives
bit of
power
lag.
to our enemies as easily as it gives
Not as
power
much
to
as
us.
before though.
I don't trust it.
Ooh, still pretty laggy. Okay, hold on. Let's go back up a bit. I don't want to kill everything, otherwise I won't have anything to test on. Because that's some serious lag. You know what? We'll fix this later. I really need to go. I really need to start working. We'll fix that later. So there's still an issue with like quests, or like maybe just like indoor areas where I'm fighting. It's weird. But anyway, time to work on some scuffed Destiny armor. Scuffed Destiny fan art. Knockoff Destiny gear. Yeah, it's just I'll have to figure it out later. I just ran out of time. I'll save that quest as a benchmark.
Even been out a full 2 weeks yet, and Concord is already being delisted from all storefronts, and anybody who purchased the game is being offered full refunds. The game is dead. I highly doubt that this game ever makes a return, because why would you when you only sold something like 25,000 copies? This is a colossal flop and a blemish on Sony's record. Let's talk about what happened and what Sony has said about the situation right now. I think all of us saw the writing on the wall with Concord, knowing that player numbers were absolutely abysmal, but most were saying, hey, they'll probably give it a year and then shut it down. I don't expect this game to go anywhere. Never in my career have I seen a studio pull their game off of storefronts and offer full refunds this close to launch. Here's what Sony said about it on the blog post. An important update on Concord. Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. See, it's a little strange to hear that because they didn't sell that many copies. So setting it up in that way, it's very strange to preface it as though Concord has been any sort of success. It's very clearly been a disaster for them. Regardless, however, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we had intended. I don't know what they think resonated with players, because if it did, you would have more players. I think this blog post is a continued fundamental misunderstanding that people didn't like this game from the get. The first time they saw gameplay, they said, this looks like a Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff. The trailer did not receive any positivity whatsoever. It was widely panned. And to hear them say that, like, this resonated with players. What players? Like, I don't know where they're hearing the positivity towards this. Now, I know this is marketing, but like, we got to take an honest, hard look at what went wrong with Concord, or they do at least, and they say they're doing that. So hopefully they actually do once, because people, as soon as they got their hands on it, widely criticized the title. Anyway, they say that therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. There are no players to reach. Even if this game goes free to play, it's not going to go anywhere. Rod Breslau posted the following list of changes that'll have absolutely no impact on Concord's success. Going free to play, increase marketing, improve gunplay, change character design, new art style, pay streamers, remove DEI, list of changes that would, canceling the game 5 years ago. Concord never should have seen the light of day. That studio never should have been purchased. I don't understand why these studios continually lash out at the audience that is trying to tell them, we don't want this. Everybody who has looked at the game said, I don't like these character models. They look bad. And I'm using the nicest phrase possible, as I'm sure you've seen online. They have widely been memed and panned. The initial reaction to the trailer was, this looks dumb. This doesn't look cool. This looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, but bad. And when we got the full game, the characters were ugly and derivative, many of them of Guardians of the Galaxy. The gameplay looks slow and unbalanced to those watching, and if you're playing, yeah, it does feel slow. The story is terrible. Who was this for, and how did you get it this wrong? Those are the main questions that I have. Are you just in an echo chamber and you don't want to hear any criticism whatsoever for the product? Because it never would have went to market if you would have had focus testing. That's truly my belief. I don't understand how you put this in front of anybody. You put this in front of Destin, and I'm like, what is your story doing? I have no idea who these characters are. I have no idea why I should connect to them. You have these story vignettes that you're highlighting as a big selling point. I don't know who they are or why I should care that they found the star map. Like, you did a terrible job of setting any aspect of this up to make these characters likable and identifiable for anybody playing the game. And then you add on top of that, the character models just don't look interesting. There's a trend going on right now on Twitter where people are asking AI to remake the character designs in Concord, and the AI designs are vastly better. And honestly, this whole situation I feel for the people at Firewalk. I truly do. Like, that is terrible for them. And I think this is going to be a wake-up call for everybody else in the industry, where they have to take an honest look at their products and say, who is this being made for? What market are we targeting with this? How much of that market exists? Because Sony bet big on this. They have an animated short coming out not that long from now with the new series. I believe it's on Amazon or Netflix or whatever. Secret Level it's called. And one of the games featured are Concord. They have a series of these very lovely animated shorts that they put together for Concord also. They have a limited edition controller. And it's just like, what market data said that this was cool and going to sell? It just makes absolutely no sense to me. Gamers have been making it quite clear that they don't want this. They say it's derivative and bland, and it's not cool. Like, say it however you want. And I honestly think, we see online a lot that people are like, oh, this is DEI or this is woke. And I think those terms are largely being used to express that I don't like this and I don't want this. So whatever that means, and those terms have meant something different to everybody else, because I have asked them, I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? And everybody has a different answer. But some things off the top of my head are, like I said, the character models being not interesting, derivative, and bland. At the top of my list would be that. And then the second thing is that the gameplay is not that interesting. There's literally animations taken from Destiny, and there are many people that worked on Destiny on the game, but it doesn't feel as good to play it. Anyway, let's continue on in the post. I ended up going a little ranty there. While we would determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 and PC. If you purchase the game for PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. Customers who purchased from other digital storefronts will also be refunded. More information about refunds from Steam and Epic can be found below, and then it's how you refund at each. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. They're not going to have access after tomorrow anyway. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. So, do I think that people didn't buy the game because of DEI or woke stuff? No, I don't think when you go into Walmart or wherever you go, you look at that game and you think about those particular topics. And you have to remember the people on Twitter, they do account for a very, very small percentage of the audience. Having a $40 price tag didn't help. Having box art full of characters that are uninteresting to look at, and like you don't identify with any of those characters. The game is just there's so many problems with the game that I am shocked that it ever got past a focus test and released to the public. When I initially played it, for the first, 4 hours or so, I'm like, okay, yeah, this feels all right. But then you get past that and you start playing against teams who know what they're doing and not just me, like I'm a solo queue type player, and it very quickly shows the cracks in the game. And it's not fun to play anymore, and you bounce. And you saw that with the player numbers. If you look at SteamDB, it had a low of 23 players yesterday. But anyway, it had a low of 23 players. And there's estimates out there that it sold $1 million worth of copies. You're talking about, and I'm guessing here, a $200 million investment. And you sold $1 million. It is a colossal disaster. This is a blemish on Sony's record, make no mistake. And so there will be layoffs because of this. And I take no happiness in that. It's very, very unfortunate. But you have to stop insulting gamers. Like if somebody says, hey, I don't like this, you have to figure out how to listen to that feedback and not just stick your head in the sand and not listen to them. And thankfully, I actually think this is a good thing. Gamers are finally speaking with their wallets. One of the first videos on this channel, I said, vote with your wallet. If you don't want microtransactions, if you don't want whatever, don't buy it. Well, with Concord, people spoke loud and clear. This clearly doesn't speak to the market in any capacity. And I have to wonder who Fair Games is supposed to speak to, because the reaction to that initial trailer was largely the same. Who is this for? Old Man Logan is one of the people that the game was for. He said, I have 48 hours in this game. The people that are playing it love it. I've met and played with so many cool people simply because of this game. We have a free gunner chat on PlayStation. F all the people who gave this game such unwarranted hate for no good reason. Do we actually think that the people on Twitter, and Old Man Logan follows me, he's awesome. Like, no shade at Old Man Logan. But do we actually think that the people on Twitter are the reason that this game didn't sell? You have to remember, like, everything we hear on Twitter, it's very loud because we're in these gaming circles. What percentage of the gaming market does that actually account for? There is something at a fundamental level that people do not like about this product, and they didn't buy it. They voted with their wallet. And honestly, like on the one hand, I am glad to see that. You have to stop insulting your fan base and basically lashing out at them when they have realistic criticisms about your product. MVG said, unprecedented, Concord is getting pulled a little over 10 days after it launched. I bought a physical copy while I was in Australia. Guess it's a coaster now. Damn. Jason Schreier also had some takes on it. Wild News, PlayStation's new game Concord has performed so poorly that the company is pulling it from stores and refunding anyone who bought it. Every time a live service game with no hook, no strong word of mouth fails to penetrate an oversaturated market, the most annoying people on the planet will be there to blame diversity. I do agree with Jason in that I don't think the fact that the cast is diverse is the problem. Overwatch clearly has a diverse cast. Apex Legends has a diverse cast. Those are like two of the biggest games on the planet. The new game from Valve, Deadlock, which is invite only, is like on the top 10 of Steam charts right now. And those games are diverse. They have a diverse cast. So I disagree that diversity is the problem with the game, because there are many other games that have done it exceptionally well and they don't have a negative impact. I do want to close up. Now, this post has been deleted, and I really love the Palworld devs and the community manager especially, who's been very open about his take about the industry. He did highlight how this is going to create a problem going forward for the type of games that we can expect. I don't really agree with the statement, but here's the deleted post. One thing the Concord situation highlights is that public understanding of the games industry is at an all-time low. You mourn studios closing one week, then rejoice and dance on the grave of a game shutting down the next week. You see ghosts of political boogeyman in one game and rally the troops for Game of the Year in others. There is so much hate, bile, and vitriol floating around our hobby, and it genuinely breaks my heart to see. Everyone is so consumed with being a contrarian because it's the meta right now that you don't even realize or care how harmful it is to the gaming landscape. A new generation of gamers conditioned to go on the offensive when disgruntled or launch full-blown assaults if they don't like a game. The sheer amount of work that goes into making a game is Herculean, and it's devastating when it doesn't land. Years of time, effort, and money lost in what feels like an instance. We've all lost today. Don't delude yourself into thinking this is a win in any way, shape, or form. Whether you liked, hated, played, or have never even heard of Concord before, it only gets harder for us all from here. Now, the problem that he's highlighting is that Concord's failure means that those good ideas that we could have had an opportunity to play, they're just not going to get the time of day. We're going to see fewer new ideas from AAA studios because for so long we have said that we want new ideas, but not cool new ideas. And right now, companies are incredibly risk averse. There's less money going around right now, and they are going to take fewer chances. I do push back, however. I think this does send a clear message to the people who greenlight games that, well, that is not what we want. And that's the only thing you can do as a consumer, not buy things. So the vitriol online, it kind of goes both ways, because I do think the entire gaming community is being writ off as terrible things. And there are people out there that honestly fit that description. There's terrible people online. I think we all know that. We've all seen a little bit of it. But at the same time, there's people who are literally just trying to say things that they don't like about the game. So it is a spectrum of reactions across the board. And I think it's pretty obvious to see that most people did not like Concord. So I would say that, yes, there is a lot of vitriol online from gamers. And now there's also this sticking your head in the sand and pretending like there's nothing wrong with the game and everybody else is just bad. Like, calling out that the K-Vest character model in-game looks terrible is a truth. And saying it's anything else, what are you doing? Fix the character model. But we have to get better at talking to each other. Because if you can't hear that the public is saying that they don't want this thing, and you're betting $200 million on it, you're going to destroy people's lives at the end of the day. Because those developers who spent 8 years on Concord, they're going to be negatively impacted by this. Why? Because of a refusal to listen to what the market is trying to tell you. And that's unfortunate. And I don't understand this pushback and labeling of everybody. It's something that I really don't like that's happening in the industry right now. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the whole topic. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate you. If you want to become a member, Here's the membership right here. You can click that join button if you want to support. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Join button is right down there. Ding. If you want to check out my other videos, you can check them out right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.
Space Marine 2 is a game I have been very excited for a very long time. This is the epic hack and slash game set in the Warhammer 40k universe, developed by Saber Interactive. You will play as Titus, a member of the Ultramarines chapter of the Space Marines, and by controlling him and fighting through waves and waves of Tyranids, Zangors, and Thousand Sons Rubric Marines, you will enjoy all of the genetically enhanced super soldier powers that an Ultramarine gets to enjoy on the daily. This game follows the story of the first game, though it's important to note you can enjoy it even if you didn't play that game, since it's over a decade old at this point. There are of course references to what happened in the first game, but it's far from necessary, and they do a very good job of filling you in on the gaps as you go through, especially in the opening few sections of the campaign. But this game is much more than just a campaign. This game also is shipping day one with a PvP and PvE multiplayer mode. There's tons of unlockable upgrades for weapons, there are added difficulty challenges, and since you can play through the campaign or the multiplayer with your friends, it means that there is plenty of content to enjoy either by yourself or with a friend. Having said that though, the game is not perfect. There are still a couple of little hiccups here and there, but on the whole, I think the TLDR for this review is that Space Marine 2 is a refreshing package with a ton of content, a pretty solid campaign, a lot of polish and refinement, and a very pro-consumer approach to a multiplayer offering. And that's right, Space Marine 2 does not have an in-game shop or any microtransactions. The way that they're monetizing the multiplayer is with a season pass, and then other little mini expansions they're going to do in the future that offer additional cosmetics and things like that. All future improvements to the gameplay or additions of levels, enemies, or challenges, all of those will be free to everyone that purchased the game. I want to get that out of the way up front because I know a lot of people were worried about like a bait and switch at the last possible minute where we would buy the game and realize that it's all crazy monetized. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Based on what I'm seeing in the review build I got access to about a week ago, everything is exactly as it appears, and that's true of the game in general. And you'll see what I mean by that here in the coming minutes as I describe the game and we work our way through it, and I share some extended thoughts. But like I said, TLDR is I think that this is a really solid offering, especially if you're a Warhammer fan, and it is such a refreshingly pro-consumer way of handling a game like this that I think it deserves to be praised and rewarded as a result. This is not one of those instances where they're charging you $70 for a multiplayer offering that only has 2 hours of content. In this case, they're offering you a $60 game with a solid campaign that lasts about 10 hours, and then a pretty sizable multiplayer offering that has tons of customization and upgradability within it as well. And they're doing all of this without needing to rely on an in-game shop with tons of crazy expensive cosmetics. And that, almost by itself, makes the game truly remarkable. But I'm going to describe some of the other stuff going on here in the coming moments. Before we get into that, make sure to like the video if you enjoy it. It actually does help, and who knows, maybe the Emperor will shine upon you graciously if you do so. And of course, subscribe for more reviews and gaming videos. And also go check out my second channel because we have a really good time there. We stream, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all before. Let's get into it. Let's begin with the story. The campaign of Space Marine 2, as I alluded to previously, starts off roughly 200 years after the events of the first game. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to go into any spoilers or anything like that in case you play this yourself, but I will say it's your standard Warhammer offering. They definitely are more focused on the guts and gore here than they are on the narrative, and I think that's just fine. If you are a fan of the lore and you like a lot of the little nods and set pieces that you might recognize from other books or stories within the universe of 40k, all of that is certainly still here, but I think for most people they're going to play through this and the story will be pretty straightforward for them. For me, it lasted about 10 hours, and that was playing on the normal difficulty. I imagine if you crank the difficulty or play through it subsequent times, there will be plenty of challenge to be found. It's also important to note that as the difficulty level changes, so do the encounters. So if you're playing on a much harder difficulty, whether it's in multiplayer or single player, encounters themselves could be different in any given instance. Like boss fights will be the same, but as for how many many enemies spawn, in which density, and of which proportions. That will change with difficulty options. So if you're somebody that likes to play through games like this multiple times, there will be added challenge and a lot more complexity stacked in once you really crank that dial. And speaking of cranking something, the visuals in this game really are stunning. There are many set pieces which are downright jaw-dropping. We've seen some of these in trailers and previews for the game and always thought they looked really good, but I think we were all cautiously optimistic about it, worried that these would get nerfed or knocked down in quality by the final release, and I'm happy to report that they look just as good at launch, if not significantly better in some cases, than they did back when they were initially revealed. There's even a couple of reveals, such as one at the very, very end of the game, where there is a very large, let's just say, being that has something to do with chaos that is present. And I will keep it vague like that so you can enjoy it when you actually see it yourself, but it is quite stunning, quite shocking, and is up there among my favorite big set pieces for any video game like this. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I love it. And yes, I am biased as a Thousand Suns player, but still, it's very, very cool. There's many moments in this game where you're just like, okay, that's badass. Speaking of badass, Titus in the campaign and also the player character during the multiplayer modes all control very, very well. And you can tell that they've done a lot of refinement on this. Everything from the slow and methodical way that he walks, to the way that the cloth realistically simulates around his legs even as he's fighting off hordes and hordes of Tyranids, even down to the blood splatter that ends up on your armor after a big, crazy, hectic fight. It all contributes to a feeling of epic grandeur, and I think it's phenomenally well implemented. I will say I've been playing this on PC. I have not gotten to test it on console or anything. I don't know anybody directly that has tried it on console. Even the previews builds and stuff that I've tried for Space Marine 2 at events like Summer Game Fest were all running on PC, so I can't report on console performance. I hope it's good, fingers crossed, and considering they've done a lot of refinement on the PC side of things, I'm optimistic, but you will have to look somewhere else to find out how this runs on a console. What I will say is on PC, the game runs very, very well. And if you are fortunate enough to be able to crank it graphically, you will see a real treat for the eyes, which you're seeing on screen right now. What you're witnessing is the game absolutely cranked out the ass with every dial turned to 11 out of 10, and I think the game looks really, really good. The only potential shortcoming is in some cutscenes. Certain characters' faces can look a little flat, and the lip syncing is maybe not as tight as it could be, but there are maybe 2 or 3 instances I can think of where that was noticeable, and honestly, that's not why you're playing a game like this. And I think that's always important to remember when we're doing reviews of games, is that sure, there are certain holes we can poke into certain parts of it, but if that's not what the game is about, it doesn't really matter. If your game is a narrative RPG
I'm gonna end it here. It's 4 a.m. I should go to sleep. Yep.